Imagine my surprise when in the spring of 1939 a letter arrived at my house inviting me to dinner at the old chancellery with the world's most reviled man, Adolf Hitler. I had been a vocal critic of his on the radio from the beginning, pretty much predicting everything he was going to do on the road to dictatorship. No one I knew encouraged me to go. He's Hitler. He's a monster. But eventually I concluded that hate gets us nowhere. I knew I couldn't change his views, but we need to talk to the other side, even if it has invaded and annexed other countries and committed unspeakable crimes against humanity. 2 weeks later, I found myself on the front steps of the old chancellery and was led into an opulent living room where a few of the Fuhrer's most vocal supporters had gathered. Himmler, Göring, Leni Riefenstahl, and the Duke of Windsor, formerly King Edward the 7th? No, 8th. Sorry, I suck at reading Roman numerals. We talked about some of the beautiful art on the walls that has been taken from the homes of Jews. But our conversation ended abruptly when we heard loud footsteps coming down the hallway. Everyone stiffened as Hitler entered the room. He was wearing a tan suit with a swastika armband and gave me an enthusiastic greeting that caught me off guard. Frankly, it was a warmer greeting than I normally get from my parents, and it was accompanied by a slap on my back. I found the whole thing quite disarming. I joked that I was surprised to see him in a tan suit because if he wore that out, it would be perceived as unführerlike. That amused him to no end, and I realized I had never seen him laugh before. Suddenly, he seemed so human. Literally, Maher said that I'd never seen Trump laugh before, and he was laughing and smiling. Suddenly, he seemed so human. Here I was, prepared to meet Hitler, the one I'd seen and heard, the public Hitler, but this private Hitler was a completely different animal, and oddly enough, this one seemed more authentic. Like this was the real Hitler. The whole thing had my head spinning. He said he was starving and led us into the dining room where he gestured for me to sit next to him. Göring immediately grabbed a slice of pumpernickel, whereupon Hitler turned to me, gave me an eye roll, then whispered, Watch, he'll be done with the entire meal before you take 2 bites. That one really got me. Göring, with his mouth full, asked what was so funny, and Hitler said, I was just telling him about the time my dog had diarrhea in the Reichstag. Göring remembered. How could he forget? He loved that story, especially the part where Hitler shot the dog before he got back into the car. Then a beaming Hitler said, Hey, if I can kill Jews, gypsies, and homosexuals, I can certainly kill a dog. That perhaps got the biggest laugh of the night. And believe me, there was plenty. So anyway, this goes on, but you get the gist of it. He's like ruthlessly mocking Bill Maher for going to eat with Trump. And look, I have to say, this is incredibly refreshing. Because like I just pointed out, Bill Maher's a total hypocrite. When he talks, I believe in conversation, okay. Well, like I just said, he's been nothing but smugly dismissive of everybody to his left for years now. When was the last time he had somebody with my ideology on Real Time? Doesn't happen. They're excised from the conversation completely. But with Trump and with MAGA people, it's, we need to understand each other. We need to talk about where we agree and where we disagree. We need to find common ground, okay? And this is all a fucking shell game. He's providing liberal and centrist cover for Trump. That's what he's doing. And by the way, if you test his approach to this stuff, test the consistency of his approach, he would fail. In fact, anybody and everybody would fail if they're all, I'm just all about conversations. Really? Would you be fine with having a long conversation with a serial killer? How about a child rapist? In Bill's case, how about a Muslim fundamentalist jihadist? How about a Stalin-defending communist? How about a former friend of yours who betrayed you and wronged you and stole a tremendous amount of money from you? Are you interested in the power of conversation and discussion with a violent, paranoid schizophrenic? Are you interested in the art of discussion with a cult leader who already has the blood of many people on their hands because they made them drink the Kool-Aid? Are you interested in if we could bring Mussolini back from the dead? Would you? We're just discussing ideas, okay? Like, this fucking ridiculous idea. People, like, I'm fully on the other side of this now. This ridiculous, I'm just all about conversation. First of all, no the fuck you're not. Second of all, plenty of people draw plenty of fucking lines when it comes to, you know what, that's beyond the pale. I'm going to pass on that, right? Now, by the way, as I've said, I honestly would have had no problem with Trump in particular as long as you held him accountable, you called him out, you present to the world this face of like, look, this guy's beyond the pale. He's unacceptable. Right? And honestly, you should have recorded it in that scenario. I'd much rather have you meet him on camera and press him than meet him behind the scenes and play footsies with him. So, like, in this particular instance, I have no problem with arguing with people, debating people, making the lines clear, saying they are out of bounds. But the idea of just conversation for conversation's sake, okay? Because what that does is, it does normalize and humanize this idea that, look, what he's doing is within the realm of debate and discussion, right? It is a reasonable opinion to have to say, let's scrap the Constitution and due process, have no hearing, and ship innocent people to a slave labor concentration camp gulag in El Salvador. No, I'm sorry, Bill. That is not reasonable. That is not within the realm of what's acceptable. That's not just an opinion. These are crimes. These are crimes. So that's the point, right? Yeah, oh, he had a nice smile and he actually laughed. What the fuck does that have to do with the fact that he's now threatening to steal Greenland illegally? Like 6% of the population says, yeah, I want to join the U.S. He goes, we have to have it. I don't care. We have to have it. He wants to steal Greenland. He wants to steal Panama. They literally already wrote up some war plans for that. He's warmongering with Mexico as well. He's saying to Canada, you're going to become the 51st state, and if you don't, I'm going to change your water rights and change the border with you and steal more of your land. He's saying we're going to own Gaza. We're going to take over Gaza. We're going to own Gaza. We're going to build hotels and casinos. It's going to be beautiful. But the Palestinians can't be there because he's trying to finish the genocide and finish the ethnic cleansing. Like, at what point can you say, none of this is matters of opinion anymore? The guy's a criminal. The guy should be locked up. He tried to steal the last fucking election with which Bill Maher knows, right? What is it about the right and about MAGA that disarms people to the point where they feel like, well, I can't call a spade and I can't be honest about what's going on, so I guess I have to meet them halfway and try to be artful about this. There is no artfulness, right? It's not a thing. When everybody looks back to Larry David's point, when everybody looks back at Hitler and the Nazis, everybody says the same shit. Why did anybody do anything to stop it? Why did anybody tolerate any of that? What the fuck is going on? And there will come a time in the not too distant future where people will have to answer the same fucking question about what's going on in this country right now. Yes, I'm making the comparison. It is an apt comparison. It is a fair comparison, because when you do stuff like totally destroy the Constitution and due process and ship people to a concentration camp, an extrajudicial gulag, a slave labor gulag with no hearing, and they're innocent people, 90% no criminal record, that's what that is. There is a comparison there because it's an apt comparison. It is accurate. It is fair. And Larry David gets it, and Bill Maher fucking doesn't, right? And look, at the end of the day, there's also quite a bit of, I guarantee you, it's an audience thing too, right? He's been slowly creeping to the right over time. And what happens is, when you do that, you get right-wingers who come into your audience and fucking cheer you on, and he wants that positive reinforcement. And so he's now carved this lane for himself of, I'm the centrist-minded, I'm the enlightened centrist-minded individual, and I'll call everything equal, and I'll do false equivalence all day long, and I'll say, the right has some problems, but the left also has some problems, okay? In a moment like this, where this administration is doing a robber baron coup led by Elon Musk and has gone full fascist, now's the time you choose to the, well, what about both sides? It's so embarrassing, it's so pathetic, it's complete loser-cucked bullshit. And Larry David sees it, and that's why Larry David wrote this. And I guarantee you, if Bill Maher responds to it, it'll be, why would you comparing Trump to Hitler is unacceptable, okay? It shows how deranged you are, okay? And as I've already explained to you, it's not deranged at all. It's a perfectly fair comparison given the nature of how extreme he's been and how far he's gone and how much he's ushering in fascism, right? When you're saying, oh, you protested Israel on a college campus, so now I'm going to lock you up indefinitely, what is that? What is that? So, God bless Larry David. Love the guy. I love how subtle this is. He didn't even fucking mention Bill Maher, and he torched him to the high heavens without breaking a fucking sweat. This guy is goated here. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.